3. I don't know why I always start a countdown, because it's never right.
It sounds cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Scallywags Sketchcast with Owen Dern. That is your formal opening.
Okay, I'm O.
I'm
That's
Dern. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Normally we have a guest artist jump on. We pick a topic. We set the war clock for drawing and doodling, and we have a battle to the death between the two artists, which both of them completely ignore the battle and death part.
And I always complain about that.
Yeah, it's tonight. We're having trouble getting in contact with our booked guest. It is entirely possible that he is cut off from electricity in the modern world tonight. So we're just going to get some work done on our book, The Woods of Wobidar.
One of our books.
One of our many books, yes. Yes, I was gonna say it's and you know what, now we need to do the unprofessional throwing of the link around, because we definitely forgot to send that out at the beginning, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes. There is your YouTube link, sir.
What's with all this Wii shit?
Oh no, that's completely on me.
Yeah.
So we were sitting here waiting, and we were talking.
You know how I'm gonna post this?
What?
By the way, do you have any way of knowing how many listeners we have, like, live?
Right now? Yeah, I have a way.
Okay. Do we have anybody?
Right now we have listeners already. How that happens, I am never entirely certain. But they definitely they get a notice. Our subscribers get a notice the moment we go live, and they can click and check. So that's how that's happening.
Okay, because so what are we calling today? NinjaCast or Sketchcast?
I am calling it the Sketchcast,
Okay.
although it really is a NinjaCast at night. If we don't have the special guest to actually make it educational, this is kind of a ninja. This is a NinjaCast sneaking in on the Sketchcast. This is what we do during the days.
Because here's what I wrote for the post: like, don't feel like watching the boring ass Oscars tonight, then watch me draw.
Exactly. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see Odra. You're going to hear us talk. We've got stupid anecdotes. We've got chonk chonks. I love your design for the chonk chonk, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A chonk chonk is a mystical frost nest dwelling bird inside the woods of Wobidar. Or, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't feel like watching those boring ass Oscars tonight. You can watch me draw.
Yeah.
I'm all pumped up because I was watching Epic Mealtime. So
Epic Mealtime? How much
Yeah.
bacon was involved?
like a lot of it. Like,
Okay, so it was a good episode.
well, they all have bacon. I've never seen a single. I mean, granted, I just recently, and I mean, I knew about it. I had seen it. I had watched it, but I just recently subscribed to it.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was working earlier, I was just kind of like watching episodes, and they go by really fast because they're really short.
Right.
So so I watched like 10 of them, maybe, or something.
Okay.
And yeah, they all have bacon in them.
But you could actually rate how good of a episode it is by how many kilograms of bacon they go through.
They went through a lot. I mean, they don't really cut back on that. So.
Nope. That is, by the way, there's a winter storm running through where I'm at right now. So yet another dumping of snow is going to happen, like 10 inches is going to happen. It's going to start in like a couple hours. And it's one of those forecasts that the weather guys can't get wrong. Like, they know it's coming, which means it could be 2 feet of snow. And so I'm looking at my fridge today, realizing this is what crazy people do when they find out that a storm is coming. They run out to the store and they buy milk, they buy bread, they buy eggs, and they buy water. And I'm like, how badly do they need French toast? Because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Like, why do you need all those ingredients? And for the longest time, it didn't really bother me. I used to just point and laugh and say, aha, crazy people. And then when I had 2 kids, Then I just got violently angry about the fact that these douches are running out and buying up the milk supply. Because, like, if you have a 2-year-old, you have to have milk.
I thought that's what your wife's breasts are for.
Well, there's a time when then you stop breastfeeding, especially when a kid, like, grows teeth. I love how we just had a spike in viewers as soon as we started talking about breastfeeding. It's like the internet sensed booby.
Well, fair warning, dear listeners, we're not going to talk about this much.
No, we're jumping off it already. So right now, my winter storm solution was I called up my pizza delivery guy. I had him basically whip up a couple of meatball subs, a large pizza, and some baklava. Throw that into my fridge. So it has that. It has various types of alcohol. It has bacon. It has hot dogs. And it has condiments. That is my fridge right now.
So you're like living an episode of Epic Mealtime right now.
My fridge is Epic Mealtime waiting to happen.
Except they don't actually eat that, but you will.
That's how I'm going to survive this winter storm. Like, I'm looking at it like, man, I kind of want a salad. Bacon salad? That's really all I got the option for right now.
It's yeah, you're out epic. Okay, out epicing is a word. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe. Yeah, you're out epicing the Epic Mealtime people because you are actually gonna eat that stuff while they don't.
Yes.
So yeah, in your face. Although I'm pretty sure that guy would kick your ass.
In your face and in your cholesterol stream, right there. Hey, in fairness, I'm starting to get pretty ripped now. It's amusing the hell out of me.
I'm pretty sure he would still kick your ass.
Yeah, probably.
he's like although I don't know, he poses like he's this badass, like angry all the time dude. I bet he's like the sweetest guy.
He's a cuddly guy.
Yeah, like just incredibly sweet and nice and all that kind of shit.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been meaning. I basically, you ever have something happen to you in your life, and you're sitting there thinking, well, fuck, I can't tell the internet about this because it's going to be a great anecdote later.
Oh well, no. I mean, no. I didn't know. I was gonna say I had those situations happen to me, but then you know, I was with you up until the well, fuck. Not that it was gonna make a great anecdote because you know that one time I shat my pants was not gonna make a great anecdote.
Not a great one, but still good. I mean, do you want to talk about shatting your pants? A pants shat?
Well, I once biked so hard that I shit my pants.
You just pedaled it out?
Yeah, I was like, I just like I was going uphill and I was pedaling really hard, and suddenly I pushed very hard, and every now and then, like when you're doing this kind of exercise, you fart.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I'm like, oh, here comes one of those exercise farts, awesome, and it wasn't a fart, and that's the end of the story.
You know what? The worst part is for a half second there, like, this is me when I was, like, okaying you talking about this, thinking, I was embarrassed by a story about him shitting his pants, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is going to be funny, and then I realized the only reason that you thought that this was a bad story is because it was just a bad, boring story. Yeah, not the shitting your pants embarrassing you part. Like, if I really thought about this, you embarrassing yourself would never have entered in the equation as to whether or not it's a good story.
Yeah, that's true. I have no shame.
I have shame right now for having forgotten that, or just not let that enter into my thinking. I don't know.
Well, I mean, why would I be embarrassed? Like, it's kind of epic, you know. I pedaled so hard I shat myself.
Yeah.
It's not like like
if the bike started going faster, that would have been kind of amazing.
Yeah, it would have been epic. But
if something like splattered out and caused a 3-car pileup behind you, slightly
besides,
tragic,
like
but let's say everybody walks away, amazing.
It's not like I just went about my day like that. Oh, I mean, like, oh, well, that's something that happened.
Well, that happened. Yeah. Time to go to lunch.
And I just went and gave a class. No, it's I fixed it. But but then then you start thinking about what happened, and you're like, okay, so how do I feel about shitting myself, really?
How does that feel? Well, I'm gonna guess warm was one of the words used.
Well, yeah, but I was thinking more like my feelings. What are my feelings about
Mhm.
this thing that just happened?
Let's face it, as human beings, we have a very limited period in our time where we don't shit ourselves. The
Yeah,
majority of our life, there's gonna be pants shitting.
but we do take a certain amount of pride in it.
Oh yeah.
So now, no, but actually,
Wait, pride
relevant
in
to that,
shitting our pants or pride in not shitting our pants?
pride in not. But I did have to think about it, though.
So there really aren't that many people going, fuck yeah!
I'd like to
Making a
think that
deposit.
maybe in some old folks' home somewhere, there's an old guy that just loves that shit. He just enjoys the crap out of it. All the nurses hate him. Like,
By the way, the internet has decided in our viewer ratings, like, the boob spike has gone down now.
oh, okay. So apparently we just have live, like,
We literally just crapped out our viewers at that point.
no. It's just after that happened to me, a few months later, I ended up, like I am right now, going to the gym,
Hmm.
and I was reminded that the reason I have this on my mind is because last Friday I did my first workout grunt. I'd never done that. Like,
Hmm.
I've always been a very silent guy at the gym, and last Friday I had to lift some stuff up that I just had to go like the manly gym grunt that
Hmm.
I think is the douchiest thing ever. And instead of thinking, how manly I am or anything like that, I just thought to myself, "Holy shit! I hope it doesn't happen again." Like, if I'm gonna be like going like doing a lot of strength here, I hope I don't shit myself again.
So for all you ladies that go to the gym and you see the meatheads doing the heavy weightlifting, trying to impress you, trying to get their grunts on, realize if they're really grunting, they're crapping themselves.
Well, let us be fair and equal here. Uh, they're also, I mean, they're also working out, so
Yeah,
there's also a good chance that maybe the ladies are also crapping themselves at the gym.
maybe.
So
It's
it's
a big crap fest, is what we're saying.
what is really like what really did embarrass me though, and not shitting myself, by the way. You know what really did embarrass me? Um,
I have no guesses. I'm completely.
No, actually, it's kind of tame, but I just want to put this out there to see if like I'm the only guy or whatever. Um, another day, I rode my bike to teach a class. What?
No, I now have a theory, and I'm terrified of it. So I'm
Okay.
just gonna let you
No,
go.
no, it's actually pretty tame. The other day, I rode my bike to class, and I get there, and I was a little late, so I pedaled it pretty hard,
Hmm.
and I wasn't like in any sporty clothes because I was in my electric bike.
Yeah,
But the electric bike doesn't necessarily do all your work for you. It's assisted pedaling, so you're just doing about half the effort. But if you want to like really gun it and get there really quick, it you do end up working up a sweat. So I
okay.
was dressed normally and I was in pants, and it's like an antique bike, so it's got like the big seat and all that kind of stuff.
Like a 1950s
Yeah.
lines to it. So that creates sweat in like a very specific area.
Yes, exactly. So I get to the classroom, I start teaching my class. About, in the middle of the class, I go like, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, be right back. I go to the bathroom, uh, take a leak, wash my hands, and as soon as I turn my back to the mirror, I catch a glimpse of something. I look back, and I'm like, oh shit, my ass is sweaty. Like I got like this huge, dark, wet mark on my ass
You
of
had
the
a
bike
wetland
seat.
environment in the crack, is
Yeah,
what we're saying.
of the bike seat. And I'm like, well, That's not a good. And the saddest part, it's the. By the way, any students listening to this, because it's a possibility,
It is.
do not think I was not aware of this situation. This was the first class of the semester. I'm like, well, that's a good first impression. There you go.
I like how being late is not a problem with the impression, but
I
the
wasn't
ass
late.
crack sweat,
No,
that's
no,
a
no.
problem.
I wasn't late. I'm never late.
Okay, you were running late, you said.
Yeah, I was running late, and
So
that's
your
why I
ass.
pedaled it hard.
Okay, would you have traded being late for no ass crack sweat?
No.
Okay.
No, I have a saying, and it's I would rather arrive dead than arrive late.
And now we have the saying, I would rather arrive with swamp ass than arrive late.
Which is probably worse than death.
Yes. we have now extended it that far in now. That's what we
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, I mean, it helped my, I don't know, ego, I guess, a little bit. The fact that all my students knew I had arrived on a bicycle. So I'm just guessing they all thought, oh, like, okay, it's not like he peed himself through his ass or something. No, it's the guy just rode a bike here. But still, it was embarrassing, and I was very self-conscious about it. And to any students listening right here, right now, yeah, I was aware. I knew about it.
Let's see, we just got a question in through the comments. For those that want to definitely make sure that their question gets spotted, definitely click the link through to the Google Hangouts, and there is a Q&A plugin that we use now that I keep that up, and I think O even keeps an eye on those too.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, the question is, comes from Surfer's Bane.
Okay. I was afraid it was going to be a student, like a follow-up question on the swamp ass.
But I have to talk to this gentleman a little bit later, but we'll take his question first. Out of curiosity, is O using a mouse or some sort of specialized electric pen thing? So he has no idea if those exist.
Oh wow.
What is your input? I was about to just call it your input stylus. It's like, yeah, it's your stylus.
I am using a Cintiq, a Wacom.
Yeah.
Wacom. I'm using a Wacom Cintiq. That is basically a digital tablet. So it's an electric pen.
It's basically he's drawing straight onto his monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much.
And I think you keep your monitor at a tilt too, right?
Yeah, I actually keep it fairly low. I want it to be as horizontal as possible while still being comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can kind of rest my arm on it.
Educational question. That being said, the very first episode of the Sketchcast, you right away, just to establish the occasional boundaries that this show will have, started talking about the only word that really works for this is obsession. Your obsession with smegma.
As a word, not as an object.
As a word, but still, you're very obsessed with smegma.
It's a fun word.
I am not into it.
Well, I'm not into smegma, but it's a fun word.
I'm not even into the word.
Okay.
It does nothing for me.
If I had a punk rock band, I'd probably call it smegma.
True. I would possibly call it like haberdashers.
There you go.
Yes. See, if you send me links about haberdashery, I'll be very happy about that. If you send me Facebook links about smegma, and then don't send them to O, who actually probably would want to know the latest of what's going on in the world of smegma, you're doing something wrong.
I would say you're doing something incredibly right.
Yeah. No. Do not send Dern stuff about smegma. Send that on to O. Yes. Now I have to wonder how close into the delay we are. Okay.
Send it to Dern. Dern needs his daily smegma.
We have a comment coming in from, I'm guessing this is one of your students.
Oh, okay.
Because it is Jose Jaime Saldarigo Gomez.
Oh, but he's not from that group. He's from another group.
Oh, it wasn't that actual group?
No, it was a university.
It wasn't that show? Well, that doesn't count then, but he did say he was not aware you do shoot down the lights. And for a half second, I'm like picturing you just like walking into your class, whipping out the gun and like shooting the lights out. Like that would be a great first impression.
No, what most of my students don't realize is I teach class. I love teaching, but
Yeah.
I think I went a little bit overboard with it. It's not my fault really. They kind of trick you into it. You're teaching a class, and suddenly they tell you, "Hey, do you want another class?" And suddenly you're teaching class every single day. So
It's like a job or something.
yeah, and suddenly that little extra something I'm doing for fun at nights because I like teaching. Now I'm doing it every day, and it became a job. I have at the moment like 4 different groups that I teach.
Okay.
So that guy, he just started with me on Friday. So
He's in the
no.
safe group. Okay.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that group would have been a lot easier because there's just one woman in that group. The group that I had my swamp ass incident in is a group that is about, it's a much higher percentage of the females.
First off, I do want to say apology accepted, Suiter's Bane. Thank you. Second off, speaking of students, Mr. Zuniga.
No, he is of that incident.
He's actually in that group. Okay.
Yeah, he is.
We have a question from him, but then while we're answering that question, we have to know: did you check out O's ass?
Okay. Yeah,
But
I'm so glad you asked him that. Great.
But his question is: he's afraid to Google it, but what the hell is smegma?
Really?
Look, it's not a commonly used word. Let's be honest.
I thought we made it famous.
Well, yeah. Clearly, you can now flunk Mr. Zuniga, as we have established, because he has not gone through and listened to every single episode of the Sketchcast at this point.
You do realize at this point on the show, you have flunked him and passed him several times.
I know, but he's back to being flunked. He's not doing his homework.
Okay, yeah. He's not doing his smegma-related homework.
Yes. His Sketchcast-related homework. Why did I say yes? Sketchcast.
Okay, I could tell him to just fucking Google it, but where's the fun in that? Well, you see, Mr. Zuniga.
He's actually misspelling it, so Googling it would possibly not work.
Smegma is
it's actually it's SMEGMA for those playing along at home here.
Smegma is that cheese-like residue that sometimes accumulates on the tip of a poorly hygiened penis, I guess. And that, I propose, is the secret phrase of the week. Poorly hygiened penis. Do you think they'll take that on Sesame Street, like for their secret word of the day?
Wait, secret word of the day is we saw him that one time too, at San Diego, like 2.5 years ago. Like he was just walking out. Pee Wee Herman.
Oh yeah, it was Pee Wee.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing he would take it.
Yeah, I think Pee Wee Herman would have smegma as a word of the day. No, Sesame Street, they have a letter and a number.
Okay.
No.
Well, no, but come on. I mean, it's been on for so long. You'd figure they ran out of letters and numbers by now, and they start
they just
reading
keep
phrases.
Yeah, they go through the Cyrillic alphabet. No, they actually just keep. Trust me, for all you parents out there, nod in agreement on this one. Sesame Street, not afraid to reuse a segment. There is shit on that show right now that is older than me.
But I could see that as a conversation between Bert and Ernie. A conversation about smegma. Yeah. I'm guessing Big Bird does not have a dick.
Well, it's Bird.
But Mr. Snuffleupagus probably has a huge one.
I would imagine he has the worst smegma problem. Oh, no.
Oscar. Oscar probably has.
Oscar, clean that shit out, man. It's nasty. It's nasty, Oscar. Nasty.
The inside of that trash can has got to be nasty as fuck.
Well,
and again, Oscar himself has got to be pretty damn nasty to smell.
Anyhow,
that kind of puts Tickle Me Elmo in a different perspective, doesn't it?
I just no. So yeah, we're like walking back from a pizza place in San Diego a couple years ago, and we say that we saw Pee Wee Herman, not that we saw Paul Rubens, because dude, when he was walking around, everywhere he went was always straight up perfect Pee Wee. Like gray suit, red bow tie, hair perfect. Yeah, he was not Paul Rubens when he was walking around. He was Pee Wee.
I think it's awesome that he keeps the character.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder.
The show wanted Pee Wee as a guest, not Paul.
Like, is he legally entitled to just be Pee Wee whenever he wants, or are there like legal issues?
Does he own the character Pee Wee? Is that what we're asking about?
Well, not if he. I don't suppose he owns it, but like, can he just like straight up put on his Pee Wee suit and just walk out the door of his house one day that he just decides that he wants to be Pee Wee that day?
Well, yeah,
or do you think there's legal repercussions to that?
Huh?
Like, or are there like legal repercussions to that?
No one stops me from walking out the door being Dern.
Yeah, but that's because you own Dern.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a character ownership issue. That's what you're curious about. Does he have the rights to Pee Wee Herman?
Yeah, do you think he owns it?
I think he does. And this is complete gut instinct on my part. This is not me knowing anything legally about the situations of Pee Wee Herman. But I want to say that before his show got picked up, that he actually had a stage show with Pee Wee Herman before that, before it was a TV show. And that smells to me like small production, something that he would actually have a lot of creator ownership and input on.
Because I would imagine, like, if he didn't own it, they probably would have made a new version of Pee Wee.
Oh, like recast it with somebody else's Pee Wee by now?
Yeah, by now. I mean, it's. I mean, we're talking about like what, 20 years ago?
Yeah,
maybe?
that makes me almost want to vomit.
I mean, this was a long time ago, and I feel sorry for the current generation that has no Pee Wee.
I thought they were coming back with some Pee Wee.
With Rubens in the role?
Yeah. Let me look that up real quick, because I keep remembering. This is one of those things that keeps getting announced.
I think he's a little bit old to be Pee Wee now.
Nah, he still looks the part when he does it.
Well, there is a ton of makeup. No, it's a ton of makeup.
Yeah.
Like, he was wearing a ton of makeup even when he was young doing Pee Wee, so.
Well, in 2009, they had a stage show put back on. And that was going till about 2010. He was on WrestleMania.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I just want to imagine that he was in a fight.
Yep.
Just in the ring.
Well, he was with The Rock, so possibly.
Holy shit! Two of my favorite people.
Yeah, that would have been nice. And then he was on Top Chef in 2012.
So he's working it.
So he's showing up as Pee Wee.
Yeah, he's really working it.
Yeah.
He's doing the Pee Wee thing. Good for you, Mr. Rubens. I admire you a lot. You were a great character from my childhood. And
very fitting now is that we just got a comment that's a nice compliment from a listener called Gary that says, "I love your artwork. Oh, keep up the great work." And he has a Muppet-esque puppet as his avatar.
Well, thank you, Gary.
We're really hitting that Henson Workshop demographic right now.
Well, thank you, Gary. I'm glad you enjoy the art. Yeah. That's all I have to say.
All I have to say is, screw you, Gary.
Dude, come on.
Nobody cares about the Dern.
I tell my students all the time.
Be an artist, you get all the attention.
Yeah, one of the coolest things about being an illustrator, about being an artist, is it's a glamorous thing. Like, you work your ass off, but people want to know your name.
The writer, fuck him.
Well, I suppose when people want to know writers' names, there's a certain level where people already like.
You know what the sad thing is a lot of the people that want to know a writer's name are the ones that basically they want to know this so they could take that writer's job.
Okay.
That's what it's like to have fans in the comic book industry, is that at least a solid portion of your fans, if you're a writer, they're people that are just studying you so that they could try to replace you later.
This sounds like something you've thought about.
Yeah.
You're looking like Alan Moore coming to get you.
Well, he's just coming to get you just because that's what, he needs a virgin sacrifice, and he doesn't know what a virgin is.
Is he doing anything right now? Like, is he writing any comic right now?
No. Well, I think he's supposedly working on another League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but the last we heard from Alan Moore was his epic, 20-page screed, to reuse the word screed again, because it's a good word, damn it, on
I like it.
how he hates Grant Morrison and the internet and people and comics.
You see, that's the thing. That's why I'm imagining that Alan Moore's probably not writing anything right now, at least not for a big company, because I would suppose that after all that he's complained, it would become like, no, let's not work with this guy. He's just gonna turn back and bite us.
I honestly think that if DC Comics, if they handed down a contract and Alan Moore signed it, they would still work with him. Of course, that contract would still be their standard contract that they give to all artists, which takes away creative rights of things that you create. And Alan clearly didn't read this over 20 years ago, but it's the same contract that every other creator that's worked for them has signed.
You'd figure they'd work "you can't badmouth us" into this contract, because I know that exists. I know they do that sometimes. So.
You could. I don't think Alan Moore cares. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in there, and he just, because clearly he didn't read the rest of the contract,
Fuck it, I'll pay the fine. I don't care.
Yeah, this is more or less my opinion on the guy, is that I used to think really highly of him, and I thought that he was really creative. I'm not ecstatic that I found that there are actually there's a very substantial amount of evidence that most of the stuff that I thought he did creatively, he just ripped off. And his ability to simultaneously pretend like he created pieces of art with his comics, which I think there's a valid case for, but then to just slam comics, I as a member of the comic industry have had enough of him. Like, fuck it, you don't like it here, go out, get out of here. That's my opinion on it.
Well, it's not like you've done everything original in your life. Like, you made a baby. I've seen a ton of babies before.
Well, yeah. No, I've done. I'm not saying I've intentionally ripped stuff off.
I mean, I've seen your kid, and you were not particularly creative with him.
But let's face it, a lot of Hello with Cheeses, those were a lot of low-hanging fruit type territories.
Low-hanging fruit. I love that word. I don't know why. I don't know why I like it.
It's actually 3 words. That's probably why.
Well, I also said that the word of the day could be poor hygiene penis. So
can I suggest that the word of the day is instead baklava?
No.
Please.
You know what? Okay, yeah. I'll I'm in a giving mood.
Good. I'll be right back.
That was very sudden. I think maybe he had a baklava in the oven and he just had to run away before he burned his house down. Okay, that was entertaining. I'll of course have to ask him what's going on when he gets back. Oh, and I was right. Yeah, I was right. Yeah, he had a baklava and he was going to get it. Now here he comes again and okay.
I've just been like
We're gonna have to start doing the intro on this show, just saying that it is the least professional show you'll ever hear.
The amount of joy that just shot through my body as I'm running up the stairs, run into my kitchen, grab the baklava, and run back.
We are professionals at being unprofessional.
Oh, said I could.
That's just gonna be our thing now.
I don't know if I mentioned the baklava when I was going off the ingredients in my fridge, but
yeah, you did.
This is the funniest thing. It is a pizza place that does. It's a subs and pizza joint, right?
Isn't a baklava like a pastry?
And a baklava is like a honey and hazelnut flaky Persian pastry. For whatever reason, this pizza place makes the best baklava I've ever had. And I know I had it up there, so I'm actually, and so it's this big sticky, flaky honey thing. So I'm gonna take a couple bites of it right now.
Where there's a good chance that if they have if it's a very gourmet kind of place that has like a chef, yeah, my girlfriend she's a pastry chef,
Mm-hmm.
but not just like for shits and giggles. Like she studied it, and they cover pizzas in that. She like knows how to make pastries and bread and pizza. They have a class for that, and I gotta tell you, like the pizza she made, she brought it for me to taste, and it is the best damn pizza I've had in my life. So I wouldn't be surprised if like this is a very like one of those like where the guy is a chef, not just like Domino's or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if the guy is like a baker. And so there you have it.
Mm,
Or maybe the guy just buys them from Walmart.
no.
And you're there munching on a baklava from Walmart, saying, "Oh, this is amazing." Yep, Walmart baklava.
It is not the classiest pizza joint, but it's
Oh, you're
good.
not the classiest fellow, so.
It might be a professionally trained guy though, because it is some of the best local pizza. It's some of the best subs, and like I said, best baklava. Columbia, Maryland, Royal Pizza. We'll do the product placement, and because they're all listening.
Of course.
Yeah. At the very least, I'm just basically putting that out there, not to get free pizza, but Prince, who is a loyal listener of the show, that when he comes to Columbia, he now has a place to eat baklava.
Hear that, Mr. Prince?
Don't call him Mister. He doesn't like that.
Oh, okay.
Gary would like to know, the black square around your brush, does it make it hard to stay in the lines?
I don't think. I think that black square around my brush is only on the screen capture. It doesn't show up for me. So yeah, that black square that you're seeing, I don't see it.
About how big of a cursor do you have on the screen?
Oh, I change the size all the time. The cursor I see is this basically. Like this is what I see on screen all the time. Just that. Yeah, of course, a lot smaller, just to show me like where the tip is gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've noticed that it kind of shows up like a square on the screen capture, but I don't see that. So
We've been doing this for how long, and I've never thought to ask.
about that?
Yeah, just like, dude, it's weird that you use a black square, but whatever.
The guy's weird. The guy's weird.
I've seen how you hold a pen.
Well,
Like you are the master of having weird art techniques and results. So
Well.
I go with the results.
But yeah. It's a boring answer though. I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't actually see that square. Yeah. Although we could get into the technical aspects of why the screen capture has that, but then again, I don't think it would be very entertaining either.
No, but I do want to get into the fact that and I'm going to set my just one more flake of baklava, just a little tiny perfect flake there. I'll set this aside.
I didn't even get to
It's
see
so
it.
fucking good. I have more in there. I'll show you after the show. I'll eat it for you. I'll do that.
Oh, yes, please. I can hardly wait.
Get little bits of honey in my mustache now.
Ah, sexy.
Yeah. Have the cat lick them out for me later.
Well, you can. I think you'd have better luck getting Sally to lick honey out of your mustache. Cats can't actually taste sweet. They don't have that.
I'm just gonna let that sink in. Okay.
Yeah, cats can't taste sweet. Dogs, I don't know if they can, but they'll eat anything. So.
Yeah. They'll eat poop, so I don't know if I really want Sally to lick my mustache on that note.
Well. Yeah, I guess that if we were on the disgusting scale, dogs definitely out. Rank cats. I mean,
there's some
cats do some
problems
pretty
there.
disgusting stuff, but
Okay, so I do want to have you, for those that have never seen your grip, the Kung Fu Monkey grip is actually something you're famous for.
Yeah. So I've been told.
hmm And I mean, you've made comics about it too. His grip, you hold the pen. It's by all 5 fingertips, right, including the thumb.
I hold my grip basically in this fashion. Let's see. Okay, so if this is the pen,
Mm-hmm.
the pencil in this case that I'm holding, here's how I
Or
hold my pen.
stylus.
Yeah. Okay. So here comes the thumb. Yes, Raijin. Yes, yes. You can. I suppose you can hear Raijin in the background.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here comes the index. That one just holds it right here.
About the middle of the pencil.
It actually, I can lift my index while I work. It doesn't really do anything.
Okay.
Then comes the middle finger, which I can also lift while I work. I only need I only need the thumb, the ring finger here, and then comes the pinky, which is the most important finger in the whole process. The pinky rests on the tip, and basically I just curve my hand this way. And that's how I hold my pencil.
You see it in person, it actually looks tremendously painful.
Yeah,
Because
so
those of us that have learned how to hold a pencil the taut way, it's just very disconcerting.
yeah, so the thumb, the ring finger, and the pinky are the only ones really needed. I can lift the other two at any moment. And the one that gives like direction to the pencil is actually the pinky.
Okay, we're actually going. This episode is becoming the weird OFAQ.
Awesome.
We've hit what you use to make the comic. We've gotten the Kung Fu grip. We've gotten your obsession with smegma. So now we have why is O not a vegetarian anymore? Did he
Oh.
taste bacon and say this is the best thing ever?
Uh,
I'd like to. I could start answering saying it's my fault.
Okay, it's okay. Here's what happened. Here's the whole thing. I was very happy being a vegetarian, right?
Mm-hmm.
But thing is, I started the comic. It started going better and better, and I started traveling a little bit more.
Start getting flown into conventions. When we started working with each other, our goal was every other year we fly him into a different show.
Yeah.
First year we fly you in. I believe we did. What was our first show together?
Our first show together, that would have been. I think our first show together was Comic-Con.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, that particular show, I fly him in. At one point, I took him to a burger joint, and their vegetarian option was a bowl of fries.
Yeah. So yeah, I was still like my first time at San Diego Comic-Con. I was still a vegetarian.
Mm-hmm. But then the next year, we did so well the year before that we're like, we had some opportunities fall in our lap, and we're like, hey, all right, we got 2 shows lined up. Instead of taking the year off, we did 2 shows.
So thing is, there was gonna be like the particular thing that pushed me over the edge was we were gonna have a road trip. I was gonna fly into Dern's house, and we were gonna go to Connecticut. That was a 6-hour, and so I just like here in my house, I was thinking, okay, so road trip. That sounds like fun. And we're gonna have road food and stuff like that, and that also sounded like fun. And then I started thinking to myself, what am I gonna eat on a road trip? And then I started thinking to myself, well, I don't feel comfortable like letting Dern worry because okay, here's the thing. I actually thought that Dern would worry about that. Like I don't know if he did.
I would have worried. I do try to worry about these things and try to pick restaurants. Like, okay, I like going to conventions and I like repeating conventions because I love finding little tiny restaurants everywhere. Like, I like knowing the 3 best places to eat in Hartford. I like knowing that there is a seafood place that is just when you get into Connecticut around Highway 91, and that they serve the best pastrami sandwich ever, and that makes no sense, but it's true. And there's all these little like things that I like to collect in my head for when I road travel, and so knowing that I was going to have a vegetarian, I'm trying to find the best leaf options, trying to figure out what I didn't want to have another "here's your fries, kid" incident happen again.
Now, here's the thing. I had been a vegetarian for nearly 13 years, maybe 14. Strict vegetarian. I did eat eggs and cheese, but no meat. Like no meat for 13, 14 years. And thing is, during that time, many of the reasons for which I became a vegetarian stopped being valid for me. Like one of them was help the environment, and I'm sorry, but you're not helping. It wasn't helping the environment. Another one was my love of animals, and well, that one was that one never ceased to work for me. But mostly, I was trying to help the environment, and as time passed, I discovered that vegetarians are not helping the environment unless you're actually doing like something active for the environment.
Like if you're doing a victory garden and you're eating just from that, then
sure. But if you're just not eating meat, but you're not really helping the environment. So anyway. So and many other reasons had stopped being valid for me. I had trained kung fu for 9 years, and they had like a sort of vegetarian trend to them, but also a lot of the stuff I learned in kung fu started to kind of sound like a bunch of bullshit to me. I still love martial arts, but anyway, that's a topic for another day. And so, my vegetarian willpower was not at its strongest at that point. And when I suddenly started feeling like I was inconveniencing somebody else with my vegetarianism, and I said, okay, that's the last straw. I'm gonna, when I travel, I'm gonna have some of Dern's meat.
Yeah, and you did enjoy my meat.
And but then I thought to myself, like, I'm not
We're
a
just gonna let that
half-ass.
lie there, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Yeah.
Anybody who knows me knows that I am not a half-assed kind of guy. I either go all the way or
Either
I
whole
don't go.
ass or no ass.
Yeah. So I either go full in or I don't go at all.
Okay, so you went whole ass for Dern's meat.
Yeah, I went full in with Dern's meat.
Okay.
And I said, why would I only have meat when I travel? Like, I'm not going to be a half-assed vegetarian. I either eat meat or I don't. So I said, okay, that's it. I'm having a burger. And
this part I didn't know. I didn't know that you were getting other people's meat, too.
I went to my first meet was I went to a burger place here where I live, and I had a pretty big burger with bacon and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, and honestly, I knew you were getting other people's meat. I knew. I'm not going to be here and be jealous. I knew that you were getting meat before you were with me.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to be like all inexperienced with you.
Yeah.
In the meats, when I took your meat, I wanted to take it properly.
I mean, there's usually like you don't want to get constipated or like have any sort of digestive problems afterwards.
And I did. Yeah, no, that's actually one of the main reasons like in all seriousness, that's actually one of the main reasons I became a carnivore before I traveled, because I didn't want to like spend all of San Diego, all of my trip that was Connecticut. I didn't want to spend all of Connecticut like in the bathroom.
And seriously, what do you mean in all seriousness? As if there wasn't any lack of seriousness in this answer so far.
Well, I didn't actually get any. I didn't get any diarrhea. I didn't have any negative consequences to myself. But I did get constipated for about a week.
Yeah, but this is also your standard travel constipation. Or was this the first meet?
Yeah, the burger?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my first meet.
Oh, okay, very good.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. The only negative consequences were what was that I did gain some weight, but mostly not because of the meat itself, but because I had no idea how to distribute portions. So for a while, I was taking portions like a vegetarian and eating way more than I was supposed to, and I gained some weight, which I'm now
Yeah.
trying to work off.
Yeah, the calorie content of meat tends to be way more dense than of vegetables.
Yeah, so now I'm just trying to work off the weight. And that is the boring story of the end of my vegetarianism. Um, I will take your next question now.
I was trying to remember if I had anything to add to that, and really don't. I think we hit like our favorite restaurants and things like that, and yeah, I even got you In-N-Out cheeseburger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, he's meaty now. Okay. Hey, and Dern.
Oh, okay.
This person is asking both of us, even though I have not a fucking thing to say on the answer.
I was imagining that they were just going to say your name so you didn't feel bad, but it was going to be a question just for me.
It really is. It really is. It's as an illustrator, a daily sketch or drawing is part of leveling up as an artist. What do you do so you don't injure yourself and be able to draw daily? Besides the sketches and the hand exercise.
The stretches, actually.
That actually says stretches, yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat some baklava. He's just staring at me.
You're going to need some, okay. Wow, okay. I have two answers to that question, and the first one is the actual answer to that question, which is how do I do it? Actually, I just showed you. The way I hold the pencil makes it so that I'm not... See, here's the thing. People tell me that I hold my pencil wrong. But the truth is, I don't really think I do. Because, like, the way people hold their pencils, they always end up injuring themselves when they work too much. And since the classes I teach, all of them but one involve me drawing during the class, I'm drawing something between 12 and 14 hours every single day. And I have yet to have any sort of pain in my wrist or anything like that. But a lot of it is, I am aware, the way I hold the pencil. It kind of puts all the strain on my thumb and my pinky. And, I mean, who knows? Maybe in a few years I'm going to get some carpal tunnel of the pinky or whatever. But for now, it's worked out for me. Now, that being said, yeah, stretching and you know, exercising your hand is important. Also, taking proper rest is important. And in all honesty, like, I'm no doctor, I'm no orthopedist or anything like that. But I also think some exercise that would involve your wrists is not a bad idea. So, you know, maybe a workout, rock climbing could be a good option. That's going to involve a lot of wrist power, stuff like that. That's, you know, just going to give your arm a nice, good workout. And most of all, like, the most important would be learning to pace yourself. You can't draw 8 hours straight. You just can't. You have to have a pace. You have to stop, get lunch. You have to do other things and all that kind of stuff. So, and I realize that sounds kind of weird, considering I just said I draw like 14 hours a day, but I do stop during those 14 hours. I stop for lunch. I stop to ride my bike to teach a class. I stop for a multitude of things. Unfortunately, the truth is, some people are just gonna get carpal tunnel. It's just...
We actually have a friend who had carpal tunnel pretty badly, and her solution was just goddamn amazing. Yuka Oda, who does the art on Johnny Wander, I believe she also has a book by Oni coming out called Lucky Penny, and she just taught herself how to draw left-handed. That was her solution to keep the comic going while having carpal tunnel attacks. Like, she couldn't draw for like the better part of 2 months with her right hand. So she just kept drawing more and more with the left until her left caught up to where her right was.
Well, there is something to be said about that, and it is if you're getting carpal, then there's something wrong in the way, like either there is something wrong with your wrist or something like that, in which case there's nothing you can do. Just okay, that's just the way your wrist is.
With her, it was just the wrist.
But a lot of times it can be that maybe you're straining your wrist too much. Maybe you're holding it wrong. Maybe, I don't get carpal tunnel, but that doesn't mean my hand never hurts. Sometimes maybe I'm bad posture. Sometimes maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe I'm pressing too hard on the pen or something like that. So if you are experiencing pain, my best advice would be don't let it get any advantage of you. Go to the doctor right away. See what it might be. See what the orthopedist tells you. Maybe you're going to get a wrist brace. Maybe they're going to give you some exercises to fix it. Maybe they're going to give you a bunch of stuff. In Yoko's case, the simple fact that she switched over to her left hand, most people are not going to hold their pen exactly the same way in the right and left hand. Most people are going to hold it a little differently. And so she's probably not going to get the same problem on her left hand because she's holding it differently, unless she's also doing it wrong, in which case she will just eventually get it on her left hand as well.
I think she jumps back to her right when her right is healthy.
So, but yeah, just kind of, this is something you have to take very seriously. See your doctor, get some exercise. Life can't be all drawing. You have to do other things, and by that I don't mean like going out or drinking. I mean like you have to exercise daily and eat right and vitamins and minerals and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Question for Dern. Are you going to watch The Walking Dead tonight? Nope.
What?
Question was, am I going to watch The Walking Dead tonight? Answer, nope.
No, I heard it, but I'm like, when have you ever spoken about The Walking Dead?
I don't know. Honestly,
I don't even know if you like it.
Huh?
I don't even know if you like it.
Okay, I could say with all honesty, I love The Walking Dead. The problem is, I'm not talking about the TV series. And I don't know, I don't like how the TV series adapted the comic. And I get that it's basically an alternate universe because there's just certain things that they have to do if it's going to be a long-running TV series that they can't do if it's compared to what the comic can do. And I like the comic better. Trying to remember when something happened in Game of Thrones that should have happened in Walking Dead, and Game of Thrones, they did it. And you really had to take your hand off to them for doing that.
I tried watching The Walking Dead. I have to admit, it bored.
A lot of their episodes are kind of dull for us. They had budget problems where they had to keep everything indoors, and the longer you keep zombies off the screen, the less makeup cost you have.
Yeah, admittedly, I just saw like a couple of episodes and stopped, so I haven't seen any of the newer seasons.
Yeah.
Our former intern, that would be Laura too. She was like huge into Walking Dead, and every now and then she would watch like Walking Dead episodes here at the office while she worked. And I remember from all the noise that would come from her computer, I would think to myself, I don't remember that show being that exciting. So I'm guessing it changed.
Like, I'm guessing it has its moments, sure.
Yeah,
and to be quite honest, we got to meet and briefly hang out with Michael Rooker, who's Merle Dixon. But
yeah, he
what I understand is he's done.
Yeah, he's. Yeah. Spoiler, and by the way, I don't give a shit. But spoiler,
well, they have toy versions of him as a zombie.
Oh, okay. So,
yeah.
So spoiler. Fuck you.
We actually got a toy zombie Merle for Lara 1.
No, that he's normal.
Oh, that was a normal one?
Yeah, that toy, he's not dead.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but still, yeah, we got it when we met him. So
Yeah, nice guy.
yeah,
I'd rather he never meet my mother, but you know,
incredibly interesting fellow.
he lives a life. We could say that about Michael Rooker. He lives a life. Gary comes in with another question here,
Okay.
saying, I practice eskrima and play piano, and my hands have moments where I have bad pains. I
Well,
found that soaking my hands in ice for 10 minutes in ice water uh, really helps calm the inflammation down.
Well, then again, you're also playing piano. That's like saying my knees hurt from playing so much football. I guess I'll play some soccer.
Well, yeah, you have to ice them, and that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is he's not exactly doing an activity that's gonna help with his wrist pain. Piano, like, I would guess piano is even more intense for your wrists. Like that would be my guess. Like I would guess piano players have even more wrist problems than illustrators.
Okay, so I'm really quickly poking around some social media things. This is something that you guys are going to want to check out later, and unfortunately BuzzFeed seems to be the one that's covering it the best. The greatest photobomb in the history of photobombs has apparently happened tonight at the Oscars. U2, from Edge to Bono to a guy that I can never remember his name, and they're lovely ladies. They're all just standing in a line at the Oscars, and behind them, throwing his hands up in the air and waving them like he just don't care, Benedict Cumberbatch, photobombing U2.
Oh, am I supposed
Did
to
that
say
kill
something?
things for you? Oh? Yeah.
Um,
Would you like me to really quickly show you the picture so that we could be as unprofessional as possible?
just post a link to it and I'll check it out. I can't promise I'm gonna be impressed though.
Hold on a second.
Thing is, I like
I will.
Sherlock. Sherlock is awesome. Benedict Cumberbatch. Internet is in very, very high danger of oversaturating on the guy,
Yeah.
and I
I'm going
really
to flip
think that
over
they need to.
and I'm going to show the picture on the screen for everybody real quick. If I can get it to open up correctly right now. There it is. So yes, there we have the U2 photo line, and I can't even figure out how is he getting that height unless it is secretly finally being revealed U2 are entirely leprechauns.
Maybe he's just jumping.
He could be jumping, and then you have to respect the timing of that. Yeah?
I don't know. I think I'm just trying to not pay much attention to the guy lately because I think internet is gonna saturate on the guy.
There's too much Benedict out there.
Yeah, and internet kind of saturated on Sherlock for a moment there, just because, and just because they were
I
like
think it's 'cause
between
there's so
seasons, I
little
think
of
it
it.
died out. But
And then it
yeah,
came back, and then it died out, and
it's
yeah.
kind of like the same thing with Doctor Who. Like, I'm kind of annoyed that it's gonna take so long for the season to start when I'm finally willing to give it a shot again. But at the same time, it's kind of good because it's kind of people are kind of giving it a rest for a while, and like if you hang out on Tumblr a little bit, like at some times, like, Doctor Who is just all over the place. Like,
So then we have to basically ask the question then, is what is your opinion on photobombing?
mm, sorry, I was drinking some honey actually.
Oh, yeah. Gotta, yeah.
My opinion on photobombing is yeah, I think I hate photos, so anything that's gonna ruin a photo is awesome for me.
I just have to say, I am straight up fucking amazed that there are not photos of my bombs showing up anywhere after a show.
It's because nobody gives a fuck about you.
Okay, what
I'm
has to
sorry
be
be
established is that when I'm at a show, I'll have my bowler hat on. I'll have my mustache properly waxed. It's got a good Raleigh fingers curl, not a Salvador Dali. Dali had never curved his mustache. So I've got the waxed mustache, and I've got a unique looking face. I suppose that's a way to put it. It's a striking face. And I'm sitting at my table, and a lot of the times you get cosplayers
People
that'll
still
walk
looking
through.
at you, by the way, or are they
Huh?
looking at? Are people still looking at you, or did you switch over to the screen?
No, I'm on your screen. Yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah. I switched it over.
So,
But
go for
anyhow, as I'm saying, I'm sitting at my table, and cosplayers will walk by, and people will often stop the cosplayers right where they stand and ask for a photo with them. I know a lot of professional cosplayers, they will look at them and say, no, sorry, please talk to me when I'm not in front of somebody's table, because there's different things that are happening at conventions. There's panels, there's cosplay, and then there's people like me who are actually making a living at this show, selling things, sitting behind a table. And if cosplayers stop and pose in front of my table, then I can't sell anything. I can't talk to fans. I can't meet people. I'm just staring at cosplay ass. And a lot of times that's not as fun as it sounds. So my standing policy on this is that if you take a photo in front of my booth, you are signaling to me personally you want me in your photo. So I will slowly rise, and I give some of the best photobomb faces. Like, I've been shown what they look like, and it's amazing, and no one ever, like, I guess they, like, just destroy the photo when they find it. Like, I have successfully ruined the photo every single time.
Well, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, Darren, but the whole my photobomb face is amazing. I have an alternate wording for that for you, but your photobomb face is creepy as fuck.
Exactly.
So I'm guessing people don't really want to keep that.
No. Yeah.
Like,
So
creepy dude.
I'll send that photo down in flames. Okay, but here's the other thing, that this is the actual creepy as fuck thing that gets me every single time, is as I'm dressed up like this, which is just my normal, the way I am, people will ask, they'll like say, oh wow, that's an amazing mustache. Can I take a picture of it?
Are we going to talk about your mustache?
No, this is just
okay.
one question out there. I have never seen people post photos of, and check out this dude's mustache.
Well,
So it's just for their private collection. That's
somebody,
creepy.
please give us a question. I mean, somebody?
Are you just jealous because you can't match me in facial hair? Is that what I'm hearing?
I can grow a full-ass beard, and I can even do something you cannot.
What's
I
that?
can join my mustache with my beard.
My mustache is joined now.
It's joined because it has to flap over it, but
No. See, that right there is real.
I don't need to see that, dude.
Yeah.
I do
No,
not.
there is a definite bald spot on my face.
Exactly. I don't have that.
But I have the full, like, I could grow a full Van Dyke goatee, and it'd be very full. But immediately to the cheeks, it gets a little patchy. So he's trying to convince me at one point, you were trying to convince me to grow out the mustache so it just shoots out the sides and goes much bigger. And I can't grow out part of the area that would be needed to do the mustache on that size.
I think I've heard enough about your mustache.
What? What?
I don't think we need to hear more about that.
Do we go back to baklava?
No, we could go back to some questions.
Because I'm out of baklava. Question: does anybody have any more baklava?
People, come on. I don't want to talk about Darren's mustache. Just send us a question. Come on. Like, this guy seriously thinks his mustache is the most awesome thing on the planet. Please.
Many people have agreed with this statement.
Come on. Come on,
Yes.
people. Save me from this.
We have all these questions that are focused on you.
Okay,
You get a
let's
couple
go.
on me, and you just get huffy on me.
It's a mustache question. Like,
Well, no, it's not a mustache question. If it were a mustache question, it would be somebody asking me, like, what type of wax do I
which, by
use?
the way,
or-
this is not a question that people sent. Nobody asked about your mustache. You trailed into that.
I did, didn't I?
Yes, you just decided that you wanted to share what you decided is the best photobomb in the world, which honestly I've seen better. And
Have you now?
yes, I have. I regularly check out BuzzFeed.
Yes, but is that it has to have a certain celebrity level to it.
No, the reason people are saying it's the best, it's because it's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
and no, you know
And that
what?
it's you too. And
And
people need to be a Dick DeBono more often.
and so you trailed off into the whole mustache subject. Nobody asked. So there
True.
you go.
No. Yeah.
There you go. See, because I'm sorry to break it to you, but like your whole little story of one little question about me, that
Oh
question
no, the
never
question
happened.
was whether or not I watch Watching Dead, or if I was planning on watching Walking Dead
Well, they
tonight.
asked us both actually.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually they
Nope.
asked you.
That was
Oh, okay.
specifically just to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
how do you get the names for the creatures you make up, like that bird, for example?
Uh. Um. Oh. Hey. Oh. That's it. Oh. I thought you were asking me that.
No,
That's
no,
an
no, that's a
actual
question.
question.
That's a question.
The Chunk Chunk. Uh, I really just threw verbiage against the wall until it stuck. I'm trying to remember if Chonk Chonk was one of the ones that I rhymed. Let me check it real quick. That's something that I had been noticing when I was reading a lot of Dr. Seuss. Like the dude really could cheat on his rhyming meter by just making something up that fits where he needs it to rhyme exactly where it does. Like we came up with a Cheeger at one point because it just fit perfectly in there. Um, you know what? And I never even rhymed the chonk chonk, do I?
I don't think you did.
No, I just thought that one particularly sounded fun, so I just threw that one. Sometimes like the Struggle Rocks, the Billowbat. It was just a lot of it had to do with me talking to my son, who at the time was just turned 3, is just starting to figure out English language, and I start to notice there are certain things that he can say, and there's certain things that he can't say. Like there's certain parts of his verbs that he could figure out. Like he definitely figured out how to say bitch, but he had trouble learning the word Franklin for a while because the FR sound was very hard for him to learn.
Guessing the KL is not exactly easy either.
Um, yeah. The K was another big one for him as well, and the L. Yeah, but chonk. Yeah, he can do that. So I ended up naming a bird a chunk chunk
Okay, here's another question because
because it involves you.
no, because the other
It's
one was
for
going
me.
like the other one was going like in the direction of my son. This one, on the other hand,
It's kind of like there's parts of me that cringe whenever George Lucas talks about how he had his son help name the aliens, but you know this was for a children's book, and coming up with things that a kid could say I think was important.
well, by that rationale,
Yeah,
the Star Wars isn't exactly.
yeah, but Star Wars should be
Uh,
for like 10-year-olds, not 3-year-olds.
but
But
anyway,
anyhow,
yeah, this was getting into the whole my kid thing. But
I know, and I'm not going to
way
get
more interesting.
yeah. So the
But it's a
question
question
was,
entirely for you, by the way.
what was the process that I went through that ended up with me choosing O to replace Prindiville? And were there
Um,
other artists you were considering asking?
by the way, maybe you should tell people.
Brian Prindiville
Okay.
is the original artist on Hello with Cheese. Together, he bullied me into submission until I finally agreed to do a comic with him. He used a headlock. He gave me wedgies. He's a very violent person. Uh, and I should admit some of that is actually true. Not so much the physical bullying, but when he found out that at the time we were living very close to each other, he decided we're going to do a comic together. And so he had me pitch him ideas, and we came up with Hello Cheese, and it was an idea in that it wasn't an idea. It was all the ideas that I couldn't flesh out into full comics, and that's what he wanted to do. And he did that for 250 comics, 250 pages of Hello with Cheese, and at about 225 in, he decided that it was getting to be too much, and like just the daily grind of making the comic was wearing him out, and that's not what he wanted to do. He liked his job. He likes making comics, but he wanted to make them just for fun, and he felt that I needed to be doing it at a more professional level. Like, this needed to be my job. It needed to not be his job. So he gave me 2 months notice to go find a new artist. And I basically I went through and at first I had to first I had to get over the fact that I was losing Brian, and I went through the 5 stages of grief. Like, there was some anger, there was some denial, there was some bargaining, all that shit's happening. And finally, acceptance. And I'm like, well, fuck, I got to get a new artist. And I had to break Brian down elementally, basically, into what made him work. What made him work, what made him a good partner for me. And Brian had a good writing sense to begin with. He could make his own comics, and when he did, they were funny. So right away, he's funny. He also could draw funny. And so that was a very big part too. Is like there had to be some humor and some life in his line work. I wanted to see some joy in it. And the other big thing that he was fast. He was able to really just crank stuff out at a really fast speed. He did a live art competition thing, and he was pretty good at it, and because he was fast and he was funny. And I was working with that competition at the time, and I sort of went through the list of everybody that I felt was very good at that competition, as well as people that I felt were professional and capable of doing a comic outside of that. It wasn't just their skill in the competition, it was their skill making a comic. And it was a very tough list. There was a list, and the really sappy, pathetic reality that I hate to bring up because it just makes this fucker's ego bigger is, yes, O was the top name on the list. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really annoying to say that he was my #1 pick. He's who I had to have. So I email him and kind of hat in hand saying, look, I need your help. I need I can try to hire you. I know cost of living is a little bit different, and I can't pay you that much, but this is what I can pay you. And it was really a not good offer. But he came back, refused that offer, and said, I will draw your comic, but you have to take over being the business manager on commissions. So I have to basically run his business, and together we can make it so that we're both working full-time. That was the offer that he countered with.
It was a good offer.
No, it was a great offer. No, it worked out. I think it worked out good for the both of us. Yeah.
Well, here we are.
Here we are. Yes. It is March 2nd, and I just now realized I forgot to pay you.
You always forget to pay me.
I need an accountant. That's when we get just a little bit bigger, that is definitely going to be one of the first people that get hired, is somebody to handle accounts payable.
Yeah, you know what you could have done while you told me that story?
I could have paid you?
Yeah.
I could have.
You know, I never forget to pay the intern.
No, you don't. No, and I'm very glad that you're in charge of that part.
Yeah.
Especially since I can't...
We would not have an intern if you were in charge.
No, yeah. We legally have to make sure we keep her paid. Yeah.
Yeah, Colombia has a law.
Yeah, gotta do it by the law.
Yeah, we have to pay the intern. So, yeah, that was a... I like these technical questions.
Yeah, it's nice.
They're nice.
And I gotta admit, okay, there's another side to this story too, though, because after you agreed to do this, there's a huge difference. Wait. Oh, okay. I'm typing your email in wrong. I was like, why is it giving me your other email? Like, I never use that email. There's a huge difference between how O does things and how Printable does things. With Printable, part of that 2 months notice was a lot of it was the buffer. He was working on about a 1.5-month buffer at the time, and so that's why it wasn't I'm done, I need to quit, I'll work on this job for another 2.5 months. It was I'm done, I need to quit, I'm almost done. And so he just finished up the last 2 weeks, and I started giving O scripts that Brian didn't like. Whatever he had rejected, O got first dibs to take a look at, and there was some good stuff there. Stuff that I liked, and it would have given us a different flavor that would have been similar to how I was already writing it, because I was already writing it that way, and then it would give us time for O and I to find ourselves as a writer and artist to figure out what the other really liked to do. So I send him a bunch of these scripts, and you pencil sketched. You got me. There was one comic that was supposed to be 3 headshots. It was famous people that you would not trust as much if they had mullets, and so you got me Ben Franklin with a mullet, but just pencils, not colors done at all, and a couple, and that was it. Like, that's the only art you had showed me that you were working on, and the whole 2 months go by. It is Sunday night. It is 11:30. PM. The comic had always gone up at midnight. I'm sitting there. I'm thinking, I haven't heard from O in like 4 days at this point. I really, I don't have any confirmation that he's gotten the comic done or not. Well, that was fun. It was fun being in the comic industry, but at this point, I just have to admit it's over. Like, I knew I could probably go find a different replacement for Brian. But I had already really locked in that I felt O was the guy that I had picked correctly. I mean, he was the top of my list guy. Clearly I picked wrong because he's not sending the comic in. The comic's over. Maybe in a couple of years I'll come out with another comic. But for now, I'm done. So I'm getting ready to quit the industry. 10 minutes before the comic's supposed to go up, email comes in. And other than O accidentally drawing Burt Reynolds as Sean Connery and Zardos, it was perfect.
I remember that mistake.
I will never let you down for that Zardos.
They do look similar.
They do look very oddly similar. Like, if you watch Zardos and you just get like a still of Zardos, it's hard. First off, it's hard to accept that is Sean Connery. Like, that alone is where your brain starts to hemorrhage. It's like, what is Sean Connery doing in a red leather half gimp suit in a sci-fi movie? That's got to be Burt Reynolds.
Well, I didn't go with that's got to be Burt Reynolds.
It showed up in a search as if you searched for Burt Reynolds, it shows up.
Yeah, that image shows up. So, and the thing is, that's what I did. I did an image search for Burt Reynolds. I got a bunch of images like Burt Reynolds with a pug. Or is it a Sharpei?
It was a Sharpei.
Okay.
I gotta be right back.
Okay.
Keep talking about Burt.
So keep talking about the Burt. So yeah, I get an image of Burt Reynolds with a pug. I get an image of Burt Reynolds. A lot of nude photos of Burt Reynolds. I mean, not nude that you could see his junk, but nude that you know he's nude. And so, the thing is, I was telling some students about this the other day, and it's that it's kind of weird how, depending on your generation, you see a lot of these artists differently. Like, when you ask me about Sean Connery is like an old dude. Mm-hmm. But if you ask some other generation about Sean Connery, it's James Bond.
Yeah.
And to me, he's Indiana Jones's dad.
Really?
Sean Connery? Yeah, I see him more like Indiana Jones's dad, or
he was James Bond for me. Like, that was a big deal.
But you're not that old.
I know, but I actually just grew up watching old movies.
No, you see, to me, he was Indiana Jones's dad, or at the most, the guy that hung out with Highlander. But then again, I didn't see him that much as that guy because I don't know who the fuck would have thought that Sean Connery could pass as a Spaniard. It's like
the same guy that thought that he could pass as a Russian captain of a submarine.
He's been a lot of.
He's got an accent. I mean, come on.
It's
weird Sean Connery fact that I stumbled across recently. Skyfall, the most recent James Bond movie.
Yeah.
absolutely fucking love that movie, by the way.
Yeah,
Uh,
I do.
it has cinched in my head as the favorite, my favorite James Bond of all time.
Really?
Yeah, especially when I find out the stuff that they decided to edit out of it before going live with it, because they had a lot more uh, winks and nods that were way terrible to the history of James Bond. Like um, when spoilers, James comes back from the dead and he's in M's apartment. They actually had M at one point say, "You only live twice, Mr. Bond." Like, it would have been just audible groaning in the theater had they left it the way the original script was. And there was actually one thing that I find, like, I'm going back and forth whether it was a good thing they removed this from the movie or a bad thing. When they go to Skyfall and you meet Kincaid, the old Scottish man that is keeping the property in shape, right? Kincaid was written for Sean Connery.
We have an art related question.
We do, but you have no reaction to that at all.
Well, he didn't take it, so no.
Well, they didn't even offer it to him. They
Oh,
decided that would be dumb, and they took it away. And they basically, so if you actually like rewatch it sometime and pretend that that's Sean Connery doing that role, you realize they not only like through teasers and things, they address, why is Sean Connery not the guy from The Rock for you?
um, The Rock was way later.
That was '90s,
But I saw him first as Indiana Jones' dad.
but he's Welcome to the Rock.
Yeah, I know, but
And
to
then
me,
there's a line for Kincaid in Skyfall that's Welcome to Scotland.
I mean, the whole thing for me is basically that to me, Sean Connery is just like an old dude that's badass.
Oh my god, oh my god. So we got Welcome to the Rock, we got Welcome to Scotland. Can we have a movie where Sean Connery is a badass greeter for Walmart? Welcome to Walmart.
We have an art-related question.
We do?
Yeah, we do.
I got,
Uh,
and that's how O started to taste Dern's
Okay,
meat.
then I'll just read the
Okay,
question.
no.
It says, is it hard to find an art manager, or does it just have or does luck have to do with it? I'm
Look,
sorry to say, luck has everything to do with it. It's not just like meeting.
yeah.
Because I mean, there are people that do this professionally, but you have to pay them. So, so, so yeah, there is that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just pure luck. It does help if you start. I mean, no, it helps a lot if you start getting out there and meeting people. You
Mm-hmm.
have to start
Okay,
running in
this
the.
also rolls into a question we had in the comments, is how did we start working with each other? And this goes a little bit back before, like, how were you on that list? And why did you say yes to me when I asked you to work with me? It goes back to a convention called Kineticon for us. We both did our tables at Kineticon. I had a setup where I was working, at that time it was for my webcomic called Dear Pirate, which was a advice column that was done by a claymation pirate. And it was a terrible comic. But I did well at conventions because I had merchandising for it. I had really funny t-shirts, and I had buttons and posters. And I could sit at a 6-foot wide table and have 6 feet wide of merchandise on that table. You had a 6-foot table.
Well, in my defense, I had to carry all my stuff in a suitcase from Colombia.
True.
So
However, that
I was
defense
limited.
doesn't fly that far when you remember that you've seen me like fly out to other countries and do shows too.
Well, this was my first
Yeah.
time. I mean, I had not only never done a convention before, I had never even seen a convention before.
True. Yes.
So like, what could you expect from me? I didn't know, I didn't even know how other people did it.
The first show he's at, he shows up. He has these little plastic cutouts of characters from his comic. There was like a group shot of them all in the Jeep. There was the ninja, and then there was you pooping on a toilet. Or in a
That
toilet, not on a toilet.
that is still one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that happened. He has these little cutouts set up.
But again, people, in my defense,
And stickers.
like in my defense, and in a Dern shut up kind of manner, like Dern, what was your first convention? Not as a, not as a having a table, but like what was the first convention you went to?
The first convention that I ever went to
Yeah.
was actually San Diego Comic-Con.
At what age?
I was about 21.
Exactly. And when did you start doing your own conventions?
Um,
No. That sounds like you were making the convention. But, I mean,
it was
going-
the first time I ever went to a show was about 10 years ago.
Okay, and
It would be this fall 10 years.
and the thing is, you had seen your fair share by then. I was just guessing from here, like what people sold at that kind of thing.
But the best part is you were trying to figure out what people sold. I don't remember you having anything to sell at your table.
I did. I had buttons and stickers, and I had buttons and stickers and a couple of T-shirts.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just going on my guess, like, okay, I suppose people sell this kind of stuff here, and that's what I went with, and naturally they sell a lot more than that. But
Right.
how was I supposed? And here's the sad part: even if I had known, there was nothing I could have done about it because I couldn't carry all that stuff in my suitcase, like just like that. I would have to pay extra for it and all that kind of stuff, and I was already
ship ahead or things like that. Yeah.
yeah, and I was already on a budget, so nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, that's the way it went.
Yeah. And to be fair, like the one main thing that you really needed to have at your table is the one thing that we're just now getting in June, a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's something we're excited about, but it amuses me that that's there. And we're gonna say this was because it was so many years ago. I was an ass.
well, actually,
I'm gonna pretend that I'm not an ass now, but
that actually leads me to, because I was just going to steer back to the question. That actually leads me to that. Like if you're looking for somebody, if you're like me, and you have now come to a point in your life where you say, okay, let's admit it, I'm no good at business, so I need to find somebody to help me with this. It is okay to be an ass. Like I didn't like when Dern wrote to me, I didn't answer because I thought he was a nice guy. I didn't. No, I'll be honest. I didn't really think the opposite either. Like,
right.
I wasn't here thinking like, oh, he's an asshole, but I'll work with him anyway. No. I had absolutely no opinion. I keep on saying this to my students, and I still say it. I am not easy to piss off, but I am extremely easy to annoy. And I did like go out to dinner with him and some friends of his once, and like he didn't annoy me, so that's something. But on the other hand,
video games.
Yeah, we played some.
And who can remember what happened in those video games? Nothing happened.
Yeah, like
I don't even remember what game it was.
Yeah, I even remember. I distinctly remember.
I don't remember. No, who could remember? It was years ago.
Okay. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Actually, I'm
okay.
I'm going to let you keep that.
Thank you.
But anyway, but yeah. So what happens is, it's okay to be an asshole when it's about like your dreams and your future and that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying like treat people badly or stuff like that, but like if some guy says like, hey, do you want to work together? And you honestly see absolutely no future in that and all that kind of stuff, don't work with people just because they're nice or just because, of course, like everything is a gamble. Everything is luck. I mean, the guy you say no to today could be a huge success tomorrow, and you're just like, like looking yourself in the mirror saying what could have been. But on the other hand, just if there's a guy and you have like a bad feeling about that guy, you know what? Don't go with your gut sometimes, and definitely don't work with people just for being nice. And I say this because I've met people here where I live in Colombia that have asked me the question like, "Do you want to work with me?" And
Mhm.
like I'm a fairly busy guy. I don't have time to be working on just any project. But if something fun comes along that maybe I can squeeze in, uh, for the fun, I'll do it. But every now and then I'll get that, and I'm just looking and saying, I don't see this ending well. So that happens to me a lot, and the times I've done that here, I've seriously never regretted it. More than once I've had some guy here that in my heart is telling me this guy's a sleazeball, and sadly enough, I haven't been proven wrong yet. Uh, so all that just goes to like, yeah, you know what? Meet people, go out, meet people. Uh,
Mhm.
you'll find the like-minded individual to start a new and exciting project with, and all that's awesome. At the same time, yeah, be picky. You're a good artist. Why are you gonna work with just anybody? You know. So
Right.
yeah. So okay. Are there any plans of putting some of the older commissioned into book form? You go ahead.
I'll say their plans. This is one of those things that I get to work on whenever there's free time, and
Well, that's not very often.
lately that has not been at all. There are amazingly huge hurdles to putting commissioned from 2004, 2005, 2006 into book form. It gets a little bit easier around 2009, 2010, but it's still so erratic. Uh, O really believed in the infinite canvas at some point in his life, and the realization that if you want to, just make the art as tall as it needs to tell the story. And that's great online. That is an amazingly huge headache when you're trying to put this into book form and try to get some sort of formatting to it, and some of those comics are just damn near unprintable. We did save all of 2004 and 5 in that we were able to convert them all into modern formats and high resolution. There are a lot of comics still that have just like general accidents have happened to a lot of the comics.
Yeah, a lot of
Uh,
it is lost.
some of it was just recorded over by another, or not. Well, that's a good way of looking at it. Like if it's like a VHS tape that got recorded over by the next episode, we have some problems with that on some of the early comics, so that they're only available in low resolution. Um, so making an old commissioned book would be difficult at this point, but it's something that we have done as much of the legwork right now as we can so that we can eventually do that.
Yeah, it's just very
Yeah.
very. It's a very difficult book to lay out because very like you're gonna find very few old commissions that are the
Hmm.
same size. It changed. It didn't just change sizes all the time. It changed format. Like the comic was predominantly horizontal for a while there, and
For
then it
about
became
3 months of 2004, yeah, and
yeah.
then
Then
it suddenly becomes a vertical, and then he'll do one shots in square.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
so there really was no order to it, and I wasn't really. You see, the thing about commissioned is I never planned for it to become what it is
Hmm.
now. And now, I mean, like right now, we are kind of making it sort of planning for something much
Yeah.
larger, and we're kind of planning for the future on it. But back then, I was not planning to do this as long as I've done it and as seriously as I'm doing it right now. That was not part of the plan.
I'd love to collect the old Adventures of Dwarf Elf and Were Tiger, and I'd also love to collect the Cyberpunks, especially.
Yeah,
I
it's
think those both would actually work really well in book form. Um, a lot of his cultural observational stuff. not as much. Your zombie guide, I think, actually could become a good book at some point. A nice little black and white print book.
Yeah, so sometimes, like sometimes later on, when I started seeing that commission had maybe a future, I started up projects like here and there, but I would get bored. I mean, hey, I became famous for this shit
Yeah.
for abandoning stuff.
To be fair, you don't actually. He doesn't actually abandon storylines as much as people claim he has.
Yeah, it's just that. Well, I actually tell this to my students all the time, and it's that you get remembered for like you do something that people see as negative, and that stays in people's memories a little bit more. So and you normally get remembered for the last thing you did. So even though I have finished several storylines, when I'm abandoning storylines, people just go back to remembering that.
Right.
But I'm okay with that.
You did abandon a storyline right before the adventures of dwarf, elf, were tiger, lizard folk, human, and Twinklemancer.
Well, you see, thing about
Can we
it.
name it that?
No.
No.
Thing about the whole situation is you get excited. You see, you get excited about projects, and you get excited about ideas that you got, and suddenly this new idea sounds way more exciting than the one you're doing right now, and you just can't see. You just can't wait to finish what you're doing right now to start the next idea. Thing is, you start thinking about it, and then you come to the realization there's no real practical reason for me to not just stop doing whatever I'm doing and doing the other thing I want to do. And so you just go ahead and do it. We are, of course, in a very different case right now. We've got the comic. It's 82 pages in tomorrow. Tomorrow's page 82. And well, it is. Let us get sappy here for a moment. It is in a lot of ways Dern's fault that I stick to it this time.
I would punch you in the nutsack so hard if we drop this one.
Yeah, it's not so much because of that. It's not so much because Dern is constantly telling me, because he's never had to tell me to let's stick to it. But it's more like because of the way we're doing it right now and the possibilities that it has. To be honest, this is like very exciting. It's still very exciting. So I'm not right now thinking about some other project that excites me more. I'm right now just very excited about this one. So as long as we keep it interesting and keep it exciting, I definitely stay excited about this one.
It occurs to me that there's only about 10 more pages in this first chapter. I keep thinking there's 100, but then I just cheated and looked at the plotting, and right now we have the last page being 92. And I say right now because there's some fluidness that, sometimes when you get right up into drawing the comic page, sometimes you feel the need to, add a page or subtract a page. And fuck it, we're the publishers. We can decide to do that if we want to.
No, but we are getting close to the end of book one.
Yeah.
Which is also exciting. Everything is exciting.
Everything is awesome.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. So, no more questions.
We have been spoiled for questions on this episode.
Yeah,
sir.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
To be quite awesome. To be quite awesome. We are awesome. Awesome.
Let us be quite awesome.
As a crowd, you guys you've been awesome.
Yeah, I want to think that it is in great part because of the way I posted it on Facebook. Just like, do you, as I do, give a fuck about the Oscars? No, actually, don't give a fuck about the Oscars. Then come join me, and let's not give a fuck about the Oscars together, because I am not checking Twitter tonight.
No, it is just a mess of Oscarness at the moment.
I hate those Twitter reporters. We don't need you.
I like it that I finally have broken down and started following some celebrities. So it becomes more interesting for me at that point. But it's like Steve Martin is pretending that he won an Oscar tonight. So
For what?
just an Oscar.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It clearly is not an Oscar. It's like a fake Hollywood. It's a fake Los Angeles souvenir that he's like toting around at the moment. Yeah. So that's enjoyable for me.
Well,
But
Steve Martin, you have to be in a movie to win an Oscar, and I would not mind it at all if you were in more movies. I used to love his movies.
mm,
You know, I love California. Wait, is it California Story?
L.A. Story.
L.A. Story. I love that movie.
Yeah, I really feel the need to watch that again soon because I have a feeling that's going to strike home for me. A lot of it, especially just the concept of the weatherman from L.A. Do you right now? Okay, Los Angeles is known for every day of the year being about 72 degrees, which is room temperature, basically. That'll be my quick year conversion. Um, right now, they are going through a massive typhoon. They're getting like 15 inches of rain a day. Like a massive amount of rain has just dumped on them. And LA doesn't really expect water. It's in the middle of a desert. It has water ported into it from all over the state of California and Arizona as well. So there's not really like drainage in this entire city.
Arizona. Ugh.
Well, they're not as bad as they were. They if you heard about that nasty Arizona law, it got killed.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it got vetoed.
Oh.
So
What about the other state that took it?
Georgia, well, actually, and here's the thing: there's apparently like 3 other states that all just happened to come up with this law at the same time.
Yeah, that's
So,
one.
I'm going to get slightly political for a second.
I'm okay with this one.
Let's call bullshit on this. Like, somebody who is not really in the best interests of your specific state is writing legislation for your state. So whoever, like, look to your, if you're in one of these states that introduced this law, find that representative. Don't you dare re-elect him, because even if, it doesn't even matter politically what that law was that we're talking about vaguely, the fact that he clearly or she clearly wrote that law at the bequest of somebody else pulling the strings means they're not representing you. They're representing some rich person who's playing a nationwide political game and using your representative as their pawn. So fire that representative immediately, because they are not doing their job.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that little bit of politics because.
And that being said,
It's bad.
stop making anti-gay laws, people.
Yeah, that would be.
And let's
easier.
actually make our views clear on that part.
Yeah, that
Yes.
would be easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess that's too much to ask.
I don't want people to like look at all those acrobatics and say, well, dude, maybe Dern's anti-gay. Nope. That ain't gonna happen, people.
No.
All human beings are human beings. Anyhow, Mr. Zuniga would like to point out that he is running out of ideas for daily sketches, and no one in the class group will propose anything. So can you give him some ideas for this week? Or better, where does O get his ideas for the daily sketches?
I have several sources for ideas.
I did see that you used the Sketches Daily Twitter idea once.
Yeah, they didn't repost it though.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they didn't. They favorited it. They favorited it.
Well, that was rude.
Yeah, and ever since you told me what favoriting a tweet was, I was like, fuck you.
By the way, one of our listeners is pointing out really quickly that he is an Arizonan, and he insists that they're not all dicks, and that their politicians are, and there are many people that are not getting their vote again. Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
Be politically active. Don't let dicks run your state.
But yeah, so okay. Last week I used this thing on Twitter. It's called Sketch Daily. Look it up.
Mhm.
It's interesting, but I skipped several days because they put a theme in, and maybe the theme is not your thing. Like, for example, last week they went with an 80s theme, and so one day it was Egon, of course. Egon died, and I wasn't aware of that. He directed Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
So you know what? Fuck Ghostbusters. That is why I admire that guy.
Well, he did a lot more than that.
Yeah, but that is one of my favorite movies of all time, Groundhog Day. I love Groundhog Day. It's one of my favorite things. So, but anyway, they go with the whole draw Egon theme, and you know what? I'm not really into that. The other
Right
day
now
it
they're
was,
doing Prince.
yeah, they were on an '80s week. So the next day they
We'll
did
talk to Prince later to find out whether he likes that or not.
Mr. T, and you know what? Not feeling it. I like Mr.
Hmm.
T, but not feeling it. Eventually they do Gem, and hey, I'll draw me some Gem. I love, yeah, Gem is awesome. She's outrageous.
Truly, truly
Uh,
outrageous.
so they'll give you sketch ideas, but that week, and I love the '80s. I fucking love the '80s. But you know what? I wasn't feeling the topic. I'm gonna see what topic there is next week. There are what other sketch groups are there? There are several sketch groups online if you just want like a topic. Me and the intern, we just sit here every day and we either like every single topic that we come up with, we write it down, and at the next day we kind of look up what we've got and what we still kind of feel like drawing. Last week, for example, we were listening to The Shining, and we were like, hey, how about we draw Jack Torrance? We sort of threw that idea away
Hmm.
because we listened to the book, and the Jack Torrance in the book is very different from the Jack Torrance in the movie. So
And right
we're
away,
like,
people would complain, say, "Well, why doesn't he
yeah,
look like Jack Nicholson?"
yeah. So we'd get some people saying, "I'm so glad you drew the guy in the book," and we'd get other people saying, "Why didn't you draw the Jack Nicholson?"
You could have
Uh,
drawn one of the ghosts.
there are no ghosts, but they're not conventional. They just look like people. So
Yeah, but
so yeah.
some of them are really well-known, iconic images now.
Well, actually, that's the thing. The ones
But
in the
actually,
movie,
yeah,
the
like the
most
two little
iconic,
girls, I don't
they
think
don't
they're in
show
the
up in the
book, are
book.
they?
No, they don't.
Yeah.
No. Come Play With Us does not show up in the book. Um, the Dog Man shows up in the book, but he's different.
Yeah.
He's not quite that way. So wait a minute, my computer seems to be having some trouble here. So anyway, yeah, so we kind of discarded that, but that's kind of the way it works for us. We just kind of think up an idea. I'm gonna actually close Photoshop here and
Okay.
reopen it. Um, for example, right now we're listening to Hellraiser,
Hmm.
and well, I mean not Hellraiser. We're listening to the Hellbound Heart, which, by the way, is an awesome book. I'm loving it. It's also so far it's quite similar to the movie, but I'm guessing it's gonna get very different very soon. But still, an awesome read, and I wouldn't mind drawing some Cenobites or something like that. I'm not sure the intern is gonna be into that though, so we'll have to see.
So
But
yeah.
yeah, basically, I guess the answer is basically the topics just come from everywhere. Like you just anything is a topic. Anything. Remember that the daily sketch is just an excuse to practice and draw. So you just whatever you're having trouble with, like hey, I'm practicing hands. Just draw a hand. Just draw a hand today. Hey, I'm practicing fur. Just draw furry things. Uh, it's just an excuse. So it doesn't really matter. You don't have to take the topic that seriously, really.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not sure if that goes the same for like writing, like if just writing about anything is good enough, or if you actually have to have a topic when you're just writing for practice. I would. I don't know. I don't know if it works the same or not.
All right.
That's
So
almost that's kind of like a question there.
yeah. Oh wait, was that a question to me?
Yeah, I was just saying, like, for a writer to practice, do they need to just write about anything, or is it better for them to
Yeah,
have a
yeah, yeah.
topic?
If you the when you want if you want to become a good writer, you have to write every single day. It's the same damn thing. I would recommend 1,000 words, and if you're just starting out,
Stephen King recommends 2,000.
well, yeah, but you know, he
So,
apparently has two kids that started writing books too, and because I was listening to an interview with those two, and they were going off like, yeah, we just thought it was a good way to actually make a living. I mean, it was what we saw on a daily basis, so why not? Never realized that you could really fail at this, and if your last name is King, people will want to see you fail.
and they failed?
They have not had Stephen King level careers, and well, one son is writing horror, and what it was is
Oh,
he
that
actually
sounds like
picked
a bad choice.
well, he actually doesn't go by King.
Oh,
He
okay.
likes writing horror, so he picked a pseudonym. And then he started doing well enough that there was actually demand for a book tour. And at this point, he's like, "Oh fuck, I look just like my dad. They're going to figure this out. Like they're going to realize this is me." So he actually was thinking about hiring a fake him to go do the book tour. Like, hey, not just have a pseudonym, but a pseudo self. Send him out, have him go answer all the press questions, and he's just like, he was thinking about doing it. The other brother was just getting ready to publish his first book, and he's watching his older brother go through this whole debate, and he's like, that's too much work. I'm just going to throw my name on it. So he went by King, and the one that writes horror doesn't go by King.
Well,
Anyhow,
like,
you want to do 1,000 a day, start up a journal, keep it private. Like early writing, you don't want out there. I have opinion pieces that I wrote when I was 19 that occasionally you can find on the internet. I really deep ego search myself sometimes because I keep hoping that that part of the internet will die, and I'd rather it did, but and you want to basically. I think the reason why I'm as good of a writer as I am today is because I spent at least 5 years as a journalist. I don't know if the latter 8 years of my time as a journalist really made me that much better, but those first 5 years, it taught me to write tight, it taught me to be entertaining, and it made me learn dialogue because I was listening to people the entire time.
um, oh shit, wait, what was I gonna say? Oh, okay, this actually, wait a minute, fuck, oh, I had, and it was such an interesting question that I had, too.
Oh, another
Oh,
tip that
no,
I
wait.
would say for writers is while you're doing that whole journalism thing, while you're studying, if you're studying journalism in college for the hopes of becoming a storyteller, like a comic writer later, take a photography class. Take photojournalism so that you understand what it means to tell a story through still art. You might not be able to draw it, but if you're trying to describe something to somebody who's then going to have to draw it, you want to be able to describe to them something that is physically capable of being a two-dimensional image.
Oh, now I remember what I was gonna mention. A couple of weeks ago, I read an article. And by the way, for anybody wondering, like, if I'm drawing all day, when I can read articles,
Well, you got one a couple of weeks ago.
um, what?
A couple of weeks ago, you read an article.
Yeah.
First time you've done that in a while.
No, I actually read a lot of articles every day. I was just getting into that. The
Yeah.
reason I managed to read so many articles is because I don't actually read them. I use a Google Chrome extension called Speak It. I love that shit. Just highlight whatever you want, and it reads it to you. You can keep on drawing and read entire articles that way. Yeah, you have to put up with that robot voice, but it's really not that bad. They've advanced a lot on that shit. So anyway, I'm reading an article on the Huffington Post.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
judging yet.
Yeah, I don't know if that is like a good or a bad news source. I do know, however, that it gets read a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, good or bad, a lot of people are reading it.
There's a lot of stuff on it. Yes.
Yeah, and no, I mean, a lot of people, a lot of traffic there. And it's this article from a guy saying it's kind of like an open letter to J.K. Rowling saying please stop writing.
Oh, I read this article myself, and that writer needs to shut the fuck up.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I was okay.
Okay.
For people listening,
Yeah.
it's this guy from the Huffington Post.
Well,
Saying,
he posted an article on the Huffington Post. He's not hired by the Huffington Post.
yeah, but
He's an author. He's
yeah, but
trying to make a career selling books, which is an incredibly tough career to do.
so thing is, J.K. Rowling. For anybody who doesn't know, by the way, I hate you if you don't know. But no, I don't hate you, but you should go fix that right now.
You're culturally deficient at this point.
Yeah. So J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter, right?
Right.
So anyway, first of all, here's the nerve of this guy. He starts the article by saying, "I have never read Harry Potter,"
Right.
and then he starts criticizing people that read Harry Potter, saying that like I can see that kids read it. I don't get why adults read it. And at that point, I'm just saying like you haven't read it, so how the fuck do you know? But still,
I skimmed down at that point.
But still, the guy, he says that he's never read any book by J.K. Rowling, and that he's not criticizing her writing, but then he goes into criticizing her a little bit, saying that, it could be better and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, where are you getting this info? How do you know?
Like, he read her first book that she wrote after... no, actually, it wasn't.
No,
he was
wrote,
criticizing the ones that were done in the that she wrote under a pseudonym.
Yeah, but he didn't read them either. That's the thing.
He didn't?
No, what he's criticizing in the entire article is basically not her books, and he specifies, I've never read them. What he's criticizing is the fact that she's writing.
Right. And she's not just sitting on her pile of money.
Yeah, he's saying basically, like, you're already very successful, you should stop writing and let us other authors have a chance.
Yeah, this is under the whole theory that, if there's only so many books out there to be read at one time, like there's only so many dollars in somebody's pocket. So if they're spending it on Miss J.K. Moneybags there, then where's the money that they were clearly going to spend on my book? That's his whole argument.
And the funny thing is, I'm reading it, and I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. I love J.K. Rowling, and I love what she's done. Like, one of the richest women in England, if not the richest woman in England, and she is aware that she has more money than she knows what to do with, so she gives most of that shit away.
It should be noted, at one point in her life, she was a billionaire. And that's past tense because she has donated so much money.
So yeah, I mean, let's just start right there. Like, it's not like she's like consuming it all on drugs and stuff. Yeah. No, but while I'm reading this article, I'm thinking, like, so I wonder what this guy thinks about Stephen King, because that guy, like, he poops books.
It's like sometimes it feels like he's not even trying. Like, there's even a joke to it. Like, seriously, that's the monster we're going with? Okay.
And Stephen King is the author that has been taken. His books have been made into movies the most.
Is that true?
Yeah, I believe it is. I think he is the author that has most books turned into movies, which is amazing when you start looking at how many movies there are from his books, and a lot of them you wouldn't even like. Some of them have even surprised me, like, oh shit, that was a Stephen King novel. Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Like Green Mile is one of those ones that slips in there.
Yeah, well, no, I mean I knew about that one, but like. A lot of them are. Yeah, a lot of them did catch me by surprise. But still, like, that article, that was like, really? And not just that, but the guy actually posting that article, like, well, I'm gonna look like a douche for the world. Here we go.
If it makes you feel better, you're wrong. But
then
Stephen King is number 18 on the list of most adapted authors.
Oh, okay. Then who is?
You don't want to take a wild guess on this one?
No.
Because the number one is actually kind of obvious. It was going to be my guess.
And...
Shakespeare.
Okay, somebody else? Like somebody alive?
Well, Shakespeare had 831 movie adaptations at this point.
Yeah, but that...
Stephen King, impressive, but at 127.
There's a part of me, honestly, that wants to argue that Shakespeare doesn't count.
Okay, and I'm
First
seeing
of all, remember that I'm not saying I buy into this shit, but there are people that even doubt he existed.
um yeah, or that he was like yeah, I
Kind
know
of
I'm
like
familiar
Homer.
with those
Yeah,
those things.
that he was kind of like
Uh,
Homer, that he was just more like a concept.
yeah, I'm checking really quick to see if any of the authors that are above him are alive. He might be the greatest living. Uh,
What? Who's number two?
oh, number two is Anton Chekhov.
Okay, so yeah, so yeah,
Charles Dickens, Alexander Dumas, Edgar Allan Poe, Robert Louis Stevenson, Arthur Conan Doyle, Hans Christian Andersen, Edgar Wallace, the Brothers Grimm, Moliere, O. Henry, Oscar Wilde, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, Victor Hugo, Jules Verne, then Stephen King. So
so
he
he.
is the biggest living one.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, so maybe that's what I read, and I just forgot about that part.
I think that, yeah, that's fair. And it's also, we tend to think in a modern way. That's why I was like, are you sure about that one? Because the movie industry's been around damn near 100 years now. Stephen King's only been around like 30 of those. And yeah, just the sheer weight of a guy that was able to make Sherlock Holmes kind of
Yeah,
blew that one out.
but then again, look at this. Like most of there have been remakes, but most of these movies that we're talking about, in the case of Stephen King, are different. Um, are different movies from different books.
Yeah.
Like in the case of Shakespeare, there's a huge repertoire, but then again, how many of those are versions of something we already saw? Like yet another version of Romeo and Juliet. And,
Right. Constantly crank out those Romeo and Juliets and Macbeths and yeah.
yeah. So
Well, to be fair, the difference is that Shakespeare has what, like 27 plays, and uh, I think that's roughly how many things Stephen King writes a year.
No,
And actually,
yeah, that's an
this list needs
exaggeration.
to be updated. Looking just at his IMDb writer credits now, he would rank as 14th.
Okay,
I'm
but
guessing, unless like there was a lot of Tolstoy or Victor Hugo coming out recently, and I don't think there was.
yeah, I was kind of looking up at his book list
Hmm.
a few days ago to see which book I wanted to read next. We ended up going with Hellraiser, which is not by him.
Yeah.
But we were looking at a list to see like which book we wanted to go with after The Shining. We were gonna go with The Shining sequel, which is called Doctor Sleep, but
Like that
the intern.
just came out too, didn't it?
It's about a year old.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
that's just for me, but yeah.
By the way, you would love it because the reason we can't read it is the reason I'm just gonna have to read it on my own eventually. The guy that reads it, I can't remember his name, uh, but he's an actor that I'm pretty sure you would like. I'm
The
pretty sure you like him.
audiobook?
Yeah, the audiobook.
I'll help you out.
So yeah,
Go
the
keep
guy that
going, yeah.
yeah, the guy that reads it, he's just basically this guy reading an audiobook. But the thing is, he reads it in this like badass, gravelly, kind of raspy voice, like the whole time, like reading the book like this, and it's awesome because it's just like it's really cool. But that's the reason we can't listen to it here in the office because the intern, she knows English, but she does have a little bit of trouble understanding that guy.
It's a bit
Like
too
that.
much there.
Well, for example, listening to the Hellbound Heart, I almost feel tempted to ask you to listen to it just so you can tell me where that accent is from. I think it's like someplace in New England, but
Why is it so freaking impossible to find like credits on
just go to the official page. They made a big fuss about it because he's a famous actor. Just go to Stephen King's official Doctor Sleep page and you'll find out who it is right there. He's a famous actor.
yeah, I'm just finding it's StephenKing.com, I'm guessing.
Yeah, just look for Dr. Sleep on StephenKing.com. Uh, oh, okay. While you look up that up, somebody is asking, okay, you guys inspired me and Alejandro. Alejandro's another student to
Hmm.
make a webcomic. Do you have any tips for noobs like us? Um, that's wow, that's a fairly common question. And I'll tell you right away, it's gonna be different for every single case. But yeah, I guess if I could give you any advice as my pair of students and stuff like that and all that, um, my advice and would be first of all, start out doing it for the fun. It's a good idea. It can become very serious later on and all that kind of stuff.
Will Patton.
Will Patton, yeah.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. Will Patton.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he reads it with this amazing voice, and it just makes it so enjoyable. I'm just gonna have to listen to it on my own later
He's
on.
kind of a that guy. In case anybody's trying to figure out who the hell that is, like he was Quentin Glass in The Punisher, and he was in 24, and I'm trying to think of where would I definitely point out where he's at.
Like,
He was one of the people in Remember the Titans, apparently. And
like you see him, and immediately you're
it's like,
like,
oh yeah, it's that
oh,
guy.
that guy. But you can never remember like what movie you remember
Yeah,
him
he's
from.
a that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
anyway,
first thing you want to do when making a webcomic, don't be a that guy. Like you definitely want to stand out a little better. You want to get some originality.
yeah,
I'm going to say that actually is my most important bit of advice. That when you're starting out a comic, every single time that you find somebody doing something exactly like what you want to do, go back to the drawing board. Like, go ahead, keep drawing it and working on it just to get your stuff going. But if you're jumping into a two guys in a couch video game comic, don't try to jump into that sea. It's too crowded. If you're trying to do slice of life, make sure you have an interesting life. Try to give people something different.
yeah. Bring something interesting to the
Yeah.
table. But yeah, like start for the fun of it. If you're having fun and all that kind of stuff, and you stick to it, and it's good, eventually it'll become something bigger. You'll know when it happens, and you'll take it a lot more. You start treating it like a business and all that. But until that happens, try to have fun because otherwise, then you're just gonna start wondering like where are the results, and especially coming from like some people that live in a place where hey, where we live in Colombia,
Mm-hmm.
it's no conventions to go to or anything like that. My other piece of advice would be pick an update schedule you can actually maintain and
Mm-hmm.
stick to it. Like actually update regularly. Don't say you're gonna update it like once a month and then 3 months have passed or something like that. Pick a schedule, stick to it. This is not just for your readers. This is also for you. Like this is gonna help you. This is gonna help you definitely get the discipline needed because later on, when it becomes bigger, if it becomes bigger, you're gonna need that discipline. You're gonna need it. Trust me. So that's also a little bit of advice I can give you there. And the other little bit of advice I could give you artistically is don't wait for your art skills to be at that magical level because I've known a bunch. Every single convention they come to me and they say the same thing. I'm thinking of doing a webcomic, but I'm waiting for my skill to be at a level where I'll feel comfortable showing it to the
Yeah.
public. And guess what? You're never going to reach that level. None of us have. I haven't reached that level. I would like to think that no good artist has reached the level where they say, like, well, I'm great now. Let's go with it. No. And if they have, then they're an asshole. We all have our doubts, but you have to put it out there. If you look at the first issues of Commissioned, uh, visually, they're just garbage. They're
Not
just.
that bad, to be quite honest, compared to other comics that I've seen. But Yeah.
But the point stands. The point stands. You know.
They are drastically different. You do have an art jump, yes.
Yeah, but don't wait for some like magical moment where you finally feel like you've reached the pinnacle of your art skill. Hopefully that never happens because then it'll just become boring for you. So yeah, that's kind of like my advice. Oh, and to go with Jamie Noguchi, our dear friend Jamie Noguchi, one of our favorite people.
Friend of the show, yeah.
Fucking do it. Would be some very good advice that we could give you. Just fucking get to it. Don't.
What's your excuse for not doing it right now? Does it beat the logic of fucking do it?
Well, he might be doing his homework.
He could be doing his homework.
That could be an excuse for him not doing it right now.
He could be physically crippled. You know, don't do it if it's going to kill you. But if it's not going to kill you, then fucking do it.
Yeah, that's but that is definitely true. You know, just get to it. Stop planning. Start doing. Oh, and by the way, if you're gonna start working on it together, you guys gotta sit down and have a little chat. And that little chat is gonna be, okay, what would happen if we suddenly make it big? And you have to have that chat, and you have to have it right now because then it's gonna be too late to have it. Have that chat. What are we gonna do? What would be our game plan if we suddenly strike it big? Because you never know. Maybe the guy you're gonna work with doesn't really want to do that for the rest of your life, and you do, and it's a good thing to know right from the start. Right from the start.
Yep. We have another question, and this is pretty much a question for me. Do you guys have certain comics that you really like to read?
I have an answer to that question too.
You do. Yes.
He didn't specify webcomics.
He didn't specify webcomics. Yes.
Yeah, so I do have an answer to that question. But go ahead. Go first.
No. You can go first if you had something. I mean, sure. But no, off the top, if I'm not specifying, because honestly, I don't think either one of us read Marvel or DC at this moment.
No.
I got really tired of them. I do, on my non-web comic reading that I read the most is Naruto and Bleach. I will read the day it comes out. Very huge fan of both those series.
Right now, I am actually reading. I'll probably read a little bit before I go to bed tonight. I'm going through Mobius's entire comic.
Right before bed.
I have all his comics on my iPad, and whenever I go to bed, I just open up, read a few pages, and then go to sleep. But yeah, I'm going through Mobius's entire comic archive, I guess. That would be the word.
Library is also
Library,
a good word.
yes. Thank you. Yeah, that would have been a much better word. Yeah, but I'm going through Mobius's entire comic library. Basically, I'm at a point in my career where I've decided, okay, you know what? It's dream sharing time. And this is gonna sound like a stupid dream, but I don't give a fuck. I've decided that I want to be the Mobius of my generation. And I think that guy is the comic master. And he's got a lot of stuff in there that I didn't even know existed. Like he did a hilarious comic called I Am Not Batman. It's like a 6 or 7 page comic.
I'm not Batman or that man?
No, Batman. I am not Batman.
Okay.
And it's this hilarious comic that he made where basically it's a guy that is not Batman fighting a guy that decides that he has now figured out how to beat Batman. And the way he's going to beat Batman, which is not him, is that he finds a woman to act as his mother. And so she shows up and starts like nagging on Batman, and Batman has like this whole mental breakdown thing. And spoiler, but then again, it's a 6 or 7 page comic. Just go ahead and read it. Not for the story, but for the funny that it is. But basically, Batman ends up getting up and saying like, haha, you were never gonna beat me, and he beats him, and he says, the reason I beat you is because I've been spending all my afternoons with psychiatrist man, and so it's just a stupid thing, but it's hilarious because at the bottom of each and every single page, there's like a black frame where it says, this comic is not Batman. Batman is property of DC Comics. If you're looking for Batman, you're looking in the wrong place. And the next page, it's basically the same thing, but just phrased differently. Like, this is not Batman. We would never do Batman. like Mobius can't do Batman.
Oh, what if Mobius did Batman?
Well, actually, he did do Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
There is a Silver Surfer done by him. It's very different. It's very different from. I enjoyed it a lot. It's very different from what you normally see in these comics. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. And that comes from a guy that normally does not enjoy the Silver Surfer.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what webcomics do I have to give my shout outs to. Because, I mean, there are a lot that are done that are, if people remember to tweet out the links, I tend to read them on a regular basis. So, I do read a lot of Girls with Slingshots, Questionable Content, Yellow Peril, Dumbing of Age. Those are my soap opera comics, basically. And then I got my adventure comics, like Plume. Plume, actually, I probably should talk more openly and happily about because I'm actually a villain in that story. It's a weird Wild West story. Same thing with Next Town Over. And then you've got Gunner Creek Court. You've got... This is not a topic that I was expecting to go over today, so I'm very scattered on that. Oh, and then there's there's other comics out there that are humorous comics that I get angry at when they're not really well known. But it's Sticky Comics. Well, Sticky Comics is now in issues of Cosmo, so she's getting bigger, which is great. And the other one was I could see it. Crap, Dana and what's his name, and oh gosh, it's a good comic too, and it literally makes me laugh, and I can't think of its name. Well, that's stupid of me.
I
got nothing.
I do occasionally check out Saturday Morning Breakfast Cereal.
Oh, yep, SMBC.
It's a bit of a hit and a miss for me, but when it does hit, it hits very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of like this week, it just got me right where it should have. I occasionally like to go back to Perry Bible Fellowship, and I think he started it up again.
I think so. Yeah.
Which
we
is
get
awesome.
compared to that one a lot, so because of that, I tend to avoid it. And I know that doesn't make sense, but I don't. If somebody's doing content similar to us, I generally try to avoid it so that I don't let it influence me.
But yeah, it's common knowledge that I'm not a webcomic reader, kind of for reasons very similar to the reason Dern would not read a similar comic, and it's because I try to not be.
I mean, there are some comics that are friends of the show. We read those, like Star-Crossed Destiny, Mookie and Garth. What is the name of the Star Power? Yeah, that one is on a temporary hiatus as Garth learns how to put his body back together again.
Yeah, we do wish him a quick recovery. By the way, anybody wondering what we're talking about, Garth is the illustrator for Star Power. I always, you just said Star-Crossed Destiny, so they kind of get it for me.
I was having that same problem when I said it too. Yep.
But he basically broke his clavicle and had to have some metal work in there. And well, for an artist, that means hiatus.
Yep.
So yeah. That's
definitely a fan of Devil's Panties. Also, Christopher and his comic output. Of course, also you have Fuzzy Comics from Monica Ray, was on the show last week. Seriously, where I'm trying to find this comic's Twitter real quick, and it's reminding me of other comics that I do read on a regular basis and love because I, have their Twitter feed here, so that I don't lose track of them. But where is that gosh darn comic?
Oh, there is a like for artists. I also like reading the Worm World Saga. I'll admit I read it more for the art than for anything else. It's a beautiful, beautiful webcomic, and I would definitely love it if someday we can have Mr. Leeske on the show, or however you pronounce that name.
I'll take a look for it.
But yeah, it's a beautiful online comic. I suggest you check it out.
Lead Paint Comics. Thank you. I'm sorry. That was one of the ones that was the one that I've been searching for. Apparently Mike Patton does that one. No. Yeah, I'm just blurting all over you today. I'm sorry, O.
No,
yes.
We're doing
so that's I tend to read a lot. You tend to have a lot read to you. So I find that odd that you prefer more the prose and I prefer more the comics. Just as a nice switching around.
It makes sense.
Mr. Zuniga says thank you for the advice, and we got a hell yeah, thank you both from David. I think that was from our advice section.
Yeah, and that also brings us to pretty much, I believe.
Yeah, I was just doing that final clearing out of questions. That's it for tonight's show. Next week, our special guest will be Joe Dunn of Joe Loves Crappy Movies. And we will also be on doing the Ninja Cast this coming week. We haven't actually set down what schedule it is, but are you good for Tuesday?
Tuesday. Yeah, I'm good for Tuesday.
All right. Yeah, so we'll be back on the Ninja Cast on Tuesday, and by Tuesday we'll also know how many days we're doing the show next week. That is, I'm Darren J. Gendron.
And I am O Abnormal.
Yep.
So.
And we are the Scallywags Sketchcast, signing off.
Okay.